Es esta grabación.
Quiet on set.
Camera.
Rolling.
Sound.
Speed.
And action.
Film nerds, good friends, and old roommates get together to talk about
Books?
Welcome to the Film Nerd Book Club.
Can't wait for you to read with us.
Is this recording?
Welcome back, Spicy Disasters. Welcome to another episode of Film Nerd Book Club. So we are discussing 4 and 5 this time around. We've got Evie, Mika, Sonja, and our producer Josh. He's back on screen. And I'm Jess. Oh.
And now he's off screen.
Bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
Peace out.
So, this week,
Oh,
we're reading...
wait. That's what? Give me that. No.
Hey, guys.
This week we will be discussing Act 4 and 5 of If We Were Villains. And then we will be discussing our feelings.
Maybe.
Our deep, deep feelings.
Possibly.
About the book.
Maybe. You never know.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, so...
I get really weird when I have Sonja next to me.
It's like
really
we can-
just
can
when
we
you get just when you have Sonja next to you?
Fair.
I mean,
Point.
she
I don't
brings
know
up a
what's
very
going on.
good point.
That was fair.
Okay, so last week we left off in Act 3, and now starting Act 4, we are back to the present. Oliver is still talking to the detective. They're walking on the dock, and he is going to do... They're just walking on the dock. They're just, he's reminiscing and, remembering that one night when they found that unnaturally twisted body. And then they actually, let's see, Colborne, it just keeps telling about how students are stealing things that used to be theirs and the teams. Other people actually send letters to the detectives and to the police of it wasn't him. This is not his fault. He's innocent. You should get him out. So there's a lot of pros and cons between the students there at Delaware because of the story of that 4-year incident, 4th year incident. And then of course, Oliver mentioned that after the Christmas break, everything got worse. He said, but we didn't really shatter until we were all back together again.
Mm.
And then it'll take us back 10 years prior to Christmas in Ohio, and it was a complete disaster. We learned that Oliver's sister, Carolyn, is bulimic because she goes to the bathroom and just pukes it all out. And then that's when Oliver goes, you know what? I'm leaving. This Christmas dinner, he's out. He then decides to spend it in New York with Meredith. And they just, spent New Year's. They walk through the city, and I'm guessing they're gonna see the. Yeah, they did.
Wait, what was that? What was that motion?
They do what lovers do.
You do one of those? Okay.
Yes.
They ain't nothing but mammals.
Yeah.
Doing like they do in the Discovery Channel.
Yes. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, they actually, after that whole thing, they go back to Delaware. Oliver is jealous for James because he came back. Wait. What did I write here?
Did you
Here, let me read it.
Here's
Okay, cool.
here's our first snag of our first snafu of our notes.
Yeah, just
That was a really good run, though. Good job.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
tried.
good.
I tried.
It was no nonsense.
It was
I'm
contact.
really proud of us.
Wait,
Or
it's kind
her.
of weird because then
Don't
Evie's
check
on
your
my
screens.
side.
There's no need. This is really happening.
So
I-
As we scoot further away from
No, I was trying to get comfortable in the chair and I just got stuck.
So me and Evie are gonna do this discussion today, and they're just gonna be bickering in the top. It's
That's
gonna
gonna
be
be
fine.
amazing. So I'm trying to
Okay,
get
well,
back to where I was because my book just flipped upside down. I don't know where we are now.
it's okay. Well,
There we go.
we finished scene 1, then we go into scene 2 where they get the
That's right.
their stuff
Oliver.
for their. Go ahead, Evie.
Would you like me to take over? Or do you want to keep going? You can
Go ahead,
right
Evie. Go
you
ahead.
Sure? You positive? Okay then. So
I'm wondering how long I can just stare
after
and let
Oliver and
people-
Meredith's lovely trek through New York and their bookstores and coffee shops and all the fancier things of life, they get back to Deliker, back from what do you call it? Christmas. Wow. And the next production is already announced, and it's going to be King Lear, which, according to our cast of players, is a play that the school has actually very rarely, if at all, ever done. I don't quite remember if it was for any other reason outside of things usually went wrong or things of that nature. I can't really put my head on it, but whatever. So
on it.
They didn't do King Lear because there was no student who could play King Lear
Leather
reasonably.
jacket. Tweet.
Oh, shut up. Now I lost my track of thought. You can't do that to me.
because there were, I don't
How do
remember
you
because
think
there
we
was no
feel?
they,
You
they
popping up
couldn't
like
they never had a student who could really beat King Lear, or they didn't find a student who would have the same chops to do it.
Or no, it's because King Lear is old and it would look ridiculous for a 20-year-old to play King Lear. That's literally what they explained.
I don't know. Have you ever seen the original Beverly Hills 90210? I'm just saying they got away with a lot.
Weeby, can you tone down the E?
Like we said, it was completely ridiculous.
So
Whose phone is on?
I don't know.
that wasn't mine. Mine's on vibrate. Oh, actually, I think mine's on vibrate. I hope so. If it's not, it's gonna get really weird on my camera. So,
Always weird on the camera. I'm so sorry.
so
Are you holding back because I'm sitting next to you?
I'm putting my money down on who's gonna slap who first.
Okay.
Like, who's gonna piss the other one
I've
off
been
enough?
slapped twice, so it's okay. So, the character said
You
they
asked
are-
for it.
Maybe. The characters that they're going to be playing for King Lear are King Lear is going to actually be Frederick. Albany's going to be Camilo, which those two are the instructors or professors. Then Cordelia is going to be Ren. Regan's going to be played by Philippa. Gonerella? I do not know how to say that name. That's going to be Meredith. Edmund.
I think that's gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea?
Well, it's not gonorrhea. That's for sure.
One of those, we don't know. Well, that's gonna be Meredith. Edmund's gonna be played by James. Edgar is gonna be played by Oliver, and then the fool is gonna be Alexander, and Cornwall is gonna be Colin, which is a third-year student. They all kind of like flipped out when they saw that the instructors and a third year were going to be part of the play
It's
because
a
of the
pretty
whole
weird
situation. Yes. When they went back, Ren was having too much issues with like being
Wait.
extremely tired. Yes.
It was the instructor for fake fighting. He's also in it.
Yeah, that's Camilo.
Camilo.
Yeah.
Camilo is played by Albany, and then Frederick is going to be King Lear.
Camilo's played by Albany.
No, he plays Albany.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said.
That's not
He
what you
said.
said.
Camilo is played by Albany. Camilo is played by Albany. Okay, so when they get back, they notice that Ren is actually really, really tired. James is too distracted with everything. Alexander got too occupied with Colin, and that is the first time they had seen the cast list with people missing. So they normally, after they did the auditions, they waited everyone in the bar to see like who got who. Like we saw for it wasn't Macbeth, but it was the first one. Not Romeo and Juliet. The very first audition they did. I can't remember which one.
You mean the first production they performed?
No, the first one that we saw them waiting in Boar's Head for the cast list to come. Like
Caesar.
To come out. Caesar.
Was it Caesar?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was Caesar. So
The whole thing that started this.
yes. So
Thank God I'm here.
they all used to like get out of the audition and then meet up at the bar. But this was the very first time that they just sat down and it was just Meredith, Oliver, and Ren. No, Ren wasn't there. And Philippa.
Meredith, Oliver, and Philippa.
Yeah, so it was just them three, and it was the first time that they actually saw the list without everyone else. So now we go into scene 3. I don't know what's going on. Am I getting ready to be slapped? Is that what's going on?
No, it just says I can't stop touching.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
trying to
So you're
obey.
good. Oh, okay. I'm nervous. Okay, so in scene... Trying to focus over here. In scene 3, they actually started the rehearsal for King Lear. And then that's when they started noticing Richard's presence. That
Lack of presence.
lack of presence, correct.
Because if they noticed his presence, this would be a different story altogether.
I
I mean-
just touched my leg with her foot.
They ended up with Lear and they started with Lear and ended up with Hamlet.
Amy, you okay?
He's distracted by us.
I'm just. It's not that kind of podcast, girls. Relax.
Until we make it one.
Oh boy. Well, that's gonna be demonetized.
It's a bit early. Okay. So they start noticing the lack of his presence, all that. Then that's when Oliver started noticing James would speak, talk in his sleep. Meredith would be trembling. Ren would wake everyone up from the screams and sobbing and all that.
Everyone is having some sort of PTSD
Breakdown.
after what had happened.
Yes.
The seams are falling apart.
Yes. And then this whole time,
Everybody's
because
falling apart at the seams.
This whole time?
Wait, what?
This whole time? Anybody know
I
what
don't
that's
know. I'm not a tailor. I just do metaphors.
from? Everybody's from?
no, I don't know where that's
This
from.
whole time?
The whole time you would. The whole time.
The whole time?
I swear to God, if I see the words "not a tailor" at the bottom of my screen, okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that one. So everyone's going through their PTSD.
Yes.
Everyone's
And-
trying to get through learning how to do Lear, and sorry, I didn't mean to take. You mind if I take over for a little bit? Just
You can if you want to. Go ahead.
You sure?
First
I
time
was
he's
just,
asked.
I was just doing. That's true. He did ask this time. No,
I just want to give you and Tameca time, to stop.
We have
to
nothing
continue.
but time.
What? Wait.
He said, I want to give me. Wait. I want to give
Give you.
me. That's what I said. Me and you time. And I said, we have nothing but time.
Oh, and that's not what I
Why
heard.
is everybody so confused?
Okay, I just
I'm the one
wanted
with
to.
multiple voices in my head.
You two. Never mind. Point being.
What?
So I just wanted to point out before you took over that Oliver, on his time off, is when he was able to clean the castle, which was part of his work study and all that fun stuff. So you were going to talk about what happened on February 2nd?
February 2nd.
February 2nd. Why are we?
Well,
Ooh.
since you don't know.
When you throw dates at me is when thing gets a little confused. I was gonna say because we're still in scene 3 here.
Yes, that's the day he was cleaning the fireplace.
Does it say February 2nd here?
It does.
Oh yeah,
Hi,
right.
Mama.
That's right. Oh yeah, right there. 2nd of February.
I hate to say I told you so.
Anyway, so while Oliver is cleaning the castle, he makes a startling discovery when he's cleaning out the fireplace and finds a piece of cloth that is mysteriously stained with blood. Bum bum bum. Can I get an ooh in the audience real quick?
I just
I
I literally am in the middle of oohing, and he's like, "Can I get an ooh from anyone?"
Wow. Did you take your hearing aids today?
Evie, I'm deleting our friendiversary post.
No,
on
don't
Facebook.
delete it. Don't delete
you,
it.
Mommy.
It means a lot to you. I was writing a wonderful little
means a lot
passage
to
to
me?
post. What?
Puta.
Who taught her
Puñeta.
that? Who taught her that word?
Puñeta.
My family.
Her dad.
The
No, the
Mexicans
family.
who bred me.
Why do you have to say? Why do you have to say it that way?
I don't know.
It sounds weird when you say it that way.
It was a popsicle.
Yeah.
I
Okay, go
Anyway,
back.
the point was.
really, really.
The point was, it should be equally important to both of us. Not, it's important to me, and I'm deleting that shit.
It is important to us. I was writing a nice little passage
I hit both of them.
Oh, on her?
for
I see-
both
I
of you.
see how it
But
is.
who's first?
Mika, just so you know, we can see your face.
What?
They can see your face.
Okay, we're off track. Anyway, so I love you both.
The
So
tangent queen.
I'll be over here in my popsicle.
so
Okay, going back to February 2nd, while
Oliver finds a bloody rag in the fireplace, and like if the universe,
It's not a bloody rag. It's a
piece of shirt,
like a collar.
a collar that's stained with blood, and as if he didn't have enough blood.
Not funny.
As if he didn't already have enough problems, guess who comes knocking on the door and makes his way up the castle stairs into the library to meet him?
I know.
Where are you? Where? This way? Hang on. Go.
Detective, what's his name?
Detective Cop.
Detective, what's his name? Exactly.
That's what was on the PowerPoint.
Without his partner, Detective who's I'ma call it. So Detective Colborn walks in and has a nice conversation with James. Sonji, what do they talk about?
No, it's Oliver. And then after Colborn leaves, that's when Oliver decided to just ran to the theater, also known as the Fab. I can't remember what FAB.
Fine Arts Building.
Good job.
What
Ace.
he said.
I know
Hey.
things. It's amazing.
Point me at me again like that.
No, it was at Evie. It was at Evie.
Oh, it got in my screen.
He ran to the Fab, and he actually went to the basement where most of the props are kept, and he found this locker behind this old table that he moved. And when he opened one of the lockers, on the bottom there was a really old, dirty mug, and he decided to just throw that rag or collar with blood inside the mug, and then locked the locker, pushed the table in front again. That's when Oliver then ran late to combat rehearsal, and then James and Camilo and 3 of the second years were waiting, and they were like, "What the hell, man? Where have you been?" That's when then James and Oliver practice Edgar's challenge, and about to be done, and then they're fighting, and James punched the hell out of Oliver's face. And
Could you and Tameca reenact that scene for us
Oh,
real quick?
It just got slapped. Yes, that really just happened.
After Oliver rushes to to the school, to the fab, to hide the evidence. He has to collect himself.
He is taken to the infirmary because he has a bloody nose. He's like just blood
Yes,
everywhere.
for some reason I went backwards instead of forward. Anyway,
So after the infirmary, they go back to the castle. Oliver went to Alexander. Actually, no, he just hid for a second, and then it was Meredith.
Don't me?
No, Philippa, who went to Oliver and was like, "Okay, I need to tell you that you need to go and make peace without James Alexander." What? No, I'm confusing those whole stories.
okay, may I unjumble what she just said?
Yeah,
So
translate.
after the broken nose fiasco, he ends up, approached by Meredith, who Meredith leads him back to her room, and she essentially stays there for the entirety of a day. Philippa comes to see him and pretty much lays down, like, yo, you gotta fix this with James. We can't lose it. We gotta keep each other together after everything that's happened. So you gotta talk to him, figure out what happened, do your thing.
Now I know why I mentioned Alexander. It's because when he went back to the castle, he actually stopped at Alexander's room and he asked for marijuana, pot, Philly, however you want to
Yes.
talk about
Alexander made him a concoction of weed
with his
with medication and another mysterious medication, told him, smoke this, see me in the morning, and that's when Meredith finds him, drops the thing, takes it off.
Talk about how James has become a method actor. And then Oliver just went outside, started smoking. That's when Meredith picked him up and was like, "You're so messed up. Let's go to bed." Because yes.
Okay, so Oliver then, Oliver, after everything, Oliver goes see James, and they have a very heated moment, a conversation about what the fuck is wrong with each other. Some words are shared. A little intimate moment was also shared when they're forgot how it happens actually.
When he's talking to
Has it really been that long, Evie? You forget how it happens?
It's been a long time, guys.
It has been a long time.
Never mind.
So
I'm not gonna continue that song. So.
Yeah, thank you.
oh my goodness.
Just
if anyone else wants to chime in because they have heated words, whatever. They have a moment. They have a moment where pretty much James is right in front of him, puts his hand on his chest, and they have like a little staring thing, and they still leave up, sort of made up, but still kind of mad at him.
Yes, and
it was
it was really hot.
It was really hot.
According to the voice of God.
According to the voice of God. Now we know what he does with his omnipresence. Mm-hmm.
Listen, no, actually, it was. I was like having a moment. I was listening to it in the car, and I was like, I need to stop.
And
do you have to stop the audiobook or the car?
Good point.
Both.
Damn. It was like both just like park on the side. It's like
that's what we call passion.
Well, after all that, they actually we fast forward. They're all practicing their lines for class, and that's when Colin walks in. And it's like, where the hell's Alexander? And no one knew where he was. They thought that they were with Colin.
We're at this part, aren't we?
Yes. And then Colin walks in, and he's like, he is not with me. He stood me up. What's going on? That's when Philippa decides to go check the kitchen. Colin goes to his room, and that's when we find Alexander almost OD'd in his room. That's when then Oliver calls 911, and his first thing to do was run out to the middle of the forest and just scream at the top of his lungs because of every little shit that is happening.
Everything is unwinding. Everything, the shit is hitting the fan. It's no one is doing well.
No. PTSD.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is not awesome. Everything is not awesome at all.
In that scene, if they redid like a acoustic Cheryl Crow version of that song, it'd be really depressing.
Which song?
The one I just sang. I'm not singing it again.
But I didn't hear it.
Every
Neither did I.
winding road.
Oh.
Fine.
Wait, can you a little louder? No. No.
She has too
That's
many
it?
voices in her head right there.
And one of those voices is Cheryl Crow.
There's Tameca and Cheryl Crow.
Which no, it sounds fun. But it's not.
Are there any other singers?
Yes.
Well, fuck Spotify. I'll just call you and sing me a ditty.
Well, you could call me if we were friends, sharing our
I-
favors.
Anyway,
I'm
This
not
week
even-
we're reading.
Okay, so
poor Alexander is rushed to the hospital, and everyone is doing like shit. Afterwards,
they are called to go to the
Lost
therapist,
page again.
and that's when James and Ren are.
Jess needs to let her comments out.
Please, Jess.
Everything is
Please
not
do.
awesome.
It's the story of my life. So,
That's when they finally diagnosed Ren and James with PTSD.
mhm.
And then on Monday, in Gwendolyn's class, they're practicing scenes from King Lear. And what happens? Meredith and James are not having that connection. They're not having that connection. And
I wonder why.
what does Gwendolyn say? Hey, have you heard of hate sex? Because that's what you
I
need
hardly
to figure
know.
Just to give a little bit more exposition on that, Meredith and James are not clicking at all. Probably has to do with certain someone that's right in between them. Anyway, so Gwendolyn tries to fix up the chemistry and starts to ignite certain passion between them, and it leads to a very heated performance in which they share a very passionate a kiss, which just leaves everyone in the room.
That was
That was
I need
hotter
to stop
than
my car and stop the audiobook
The James
moment.
and Oliver.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Oliver
Or my-
Oliver feels hella uncomfortable. After the kiss and the ender scene, very dramatic walk off for both of them. Like, not gonna lie, it was a really fucking awkward scene. Like, oh boy.
Be sure at that moment, Oliver observed both and couldn't look away like a car crash. Oliver felt uncomfortable and jealous, but he was really confused of that. Then, of course, Oliver ran out of the class, goes into Frederick's class, and slams the door, and Frederick's there, and he's like, "What's up? What, are you okay? You need tea? I'm here for you, bro.
You need tea. You did say
tea?
that.
You need tea?
You need tea. That's what my mom said before we started filming. You
Yeah.
want tea on? I'm like, Mom, I've never drank tea in my life. Why all of a sudden do you think we want tea? Sorry, tangent.
Tangent queen."
Is there any more tea to spill? Or are we good?
No, that's actually where Act 4 ends, with Oliver having an anxiety attack in Frederick's classroom with just Frederick of like everything that's going on. Alexander is in the ER, and now Richard's dead. Alexander's in the ER.
Richard's dead? When did that happen in the book?
Watching like first act.
What?
Wow.
Am I reading a different book?
Did you know that, Tameca? Did you?
No.
That I don't know. So yes, Oliver has a panic attack and admits to Frederick, who asks if everyone's okay, and he just says, "Nah, it's not okay. It's all fucked."
Bro.
Oh, wait.
I can one up you.
Ow!
I'm so sorry.
Wait.
No, it's okay. It's too late. It's too late.
You're so focused on one upping me.
This is our relationship. It's just we hurt each other. It's
have a
just this
relationship.
toxic. Wow. It's fine.
Wow.
I have my dog. I'm good.
Ginny, are you okay?
Your dog told me he doesn't like you either.
He would say that honestly.
Humor based on my pain. Ah.
So we're gonna
and-
jump to X.
We're jumping?
No, because we're done with X4.
You jump, I jump?
Yeah.
I jump, you jump.
Yes.
You jump first.
Oh,
And then we'll see what happens.
If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
Hey Jess, how about you want to bet when they jump, they totally break something?
He's looking the other way.
Hopefully each
Yes,
other.
you're looking. It's stupid though. Good thing you're cute.
Let's try that one more time. And from the top, baby.
The moment's gone.
Right, Sonja?
Yes, Mika. Right. I know.
Right, Jess? Right.
Right, Mika?
I'm not down there.
I mean, if you're here, you could be.
Are you kidding me?
I'm
Why?
honestly.
Why?
Oh my god. That was the best pickup line.
Oh god.
Now it's getting hot in here.
I mean, just I'll get it even hot. Hell no. Okay, so
Oh, guys, it's not even midnight. We have to wait till past midnight for that.
Oh shit. I'm going to bed at midnight. What?
no, you're not.
Okay.
So end of Act 4, start of Act 5.
Yay!
Take it away, Tameca.
I got this. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got this. So, going back to the book, Act 5, prologue, we go back to the present. Where? What happens? Oliver walks with Colborne to the castle. And what happens? They go to their room. James and Oliver's room. They walk in. Colborne asks about Oliver's relationship with James. And, quote, he said, "In 10 years, I have not found an adequate word to describe us." That's how confusing it was. There wasn't like a specific word for them. I think that's how we are. We don't have a specific word for our
You
relationship.
and every other poor girl who's trying to figure out that fucking dude who just texts and
That
knows
fucking
it.
deuce is not the way you want to go.
No, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you my.
So the third years finish whatever performance they're doing, and then within 3 days time, the set for Lear is overtaken. And I'm gonna stop us for a moment because I gotta say the way you describe this set is actually pretty amazing.
Are you gonna describe it?
I'm gonna try to, because even in my head, it doesn't fully make sense. Because I feel like I may, in fact, be un estupido, as Tameca says I am. But
I mean, the easiest way to describe it is literally they're walking on mirrors. Like
yeah,
it's
it's this
a plastic mirror.
exactly. It's this whole set of mirrors that eventually, when the lights go on to show you like the starry night sky, it like envelops the entire stage. And it just makes the entire stage look like some sort of void of stars.
Mhm.
And I think it's pretty badass. And they have like the little bridge that goes right between the audience. And that's really cool. And I would really love to see that set up in real
Oh,
life.
they're sharing.
Ay, qué lindo. Look at them.
Hi.
They're so cute. Look at that. Oh my god.
So the stage is made up of mirrors. There is mirrors on the floor and the background. And when they turn off the theater lights, they actually have fiber optic lights that make up constellations, and they're reflected on the mirrors. So it's like being out in space. They say, I don't know if this is what you wanted to say. They explain it as an endless night sky. That's how it's described. Um, that's
Found it.
okay.
Go ahead.
Right.
Go.
No, I'm done.
No,
Go for
I'm
it.
gonna go when it makes sense to say it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was done either.
How will we know it makes sense to say it?
I'll say it. You're
Well,
overthinking
that's where my notes end, so you can go ahead.
it. Go.
Oh, that's where your notes end? Oh, that's right. That's where your notes end.
Yeah, okay. Because we're not there yet. Okay,
Oh,
so
we're there? Okay.
then they start performing King Lear. Everything is going
ready.
fine. That Friday comes along, and of course they have the cast party like every other performance they do at the castle. During the party, Oliver finds James in the library, standing on the table, looking out the open window, just saying his lines, and Oliver looks at him like, "What is wrong? Like, I need you to snap out of it. I need you to talk to me." And that's when like he says that he seemed that he was really drunk, and out of nowhere he like ran out of the library. Oliver followed him, found him in the bathroom, and the mirror was smashed. There was blood in the mirror, and the mascara was opened and on the floor and all over the sink. That's when Oliver walked in, closed the door, and was like, "I'm not gonna let you go until you talk to me because there's something off and wrong, and I need you to talk to me." James, of course, left, and what else? Basically left and grabs Ren by the arm and goes, "You're coming with me." And everyone's
Woman.
like, "What is going on?" And he goes, "You're coming with me right
Ren,
now."
You about to get?
Yes.
You about to
So
get
then,
lucky.
of course,
In the best way, in a frustrated way.
that hate sites was it?
Not hate.
So
He hates himself.
can I chime in for 1 second? One moment. First of all, the scene with James drunken might be one of my favorite moments of a character completely losing it. Because he wasn't just drunk. This man was on
Obliterated.
like on a whole other level. This was drunkenness matched with trauma and like secrets begging to be told. Because the entire time he's just quoting Shakespeare madly. It was amazing. Like that whole scene got incredible. What are you whispering? What are you whispering? What are you talking about?
I can admit this. If it was for you, I would have whispered to you.
So, but yeah, it was really amazing. That whole scene. It was very dramatic, and it was like a good, perfect moment. Like towards the end, we're getting towards the end of the book, so we get to finally see someone really crack under pressure completely. And also the point of the mascara on the floor was pointed out by Oliver to be Meredith's mascara, which before this happened, Meredith really wanted to speak to Oliver about something, but leaves it to tomorrow. And that's when Oliver leaves to go find James.
What you should never do. Leave
What?
What you can say today.
Exactly. What she said. So, after James, why am I whispering? After James takes Ren off to the bedroom. For me, I think it was a kind of a weird scene because I couldn't identify whether everyone else was watching this thinking it was a bad scene, a good scene, or
Yeah.
everyone just watches James grab Ren by the arm and tell her we're going to the room, and she's like,
and then
okay.
being like, all right.
And then Alexander just stops Oliver and just says, not now, not this. This stops him from going after them. I'm not entirely sure why. So, I don't know. I felt it was kind of a strange scene how it played out. But anyway, next morning. Sonja?
Well, that night, Oliver actually spends the night in Philippa's room because Meredith was nowhere to be found. And after he tried to run after James, Alexander was like, no, let him go. Like, don't try to fix this right now. Like, too much alcohol, too much, like, just leave it for tomorrow. So then Oliver spends the night at Philippa's room. Then he spent the day cleaning the castle spotless. He cleaned everything. Then he wandered into Richard's room because after his death, they had shut the door and no one had walked into his room. So he walked in, he saw how everything was left, how he had left it, and he wondered like if he knew that he was not gonna come back. Am I boring you? Like yawning over here. So
That's just rude.
this is what I gotta deal with, guys. I drove all the way this way. All the way.
What I want to know is if you guys are in the same room, how are you guys so different colored? That came out wrong.
That's racist.
The Mexican.
Puerto Rican.
I bet your screen.
Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Okay, so back to Act 5. See, what was it? Where he's cleaning everything, goes into Richard's room. Then he wanders into his room to clean it. And that's when, after he cleans his side of the room, then he goes into James's side of the room. And he started seeing, like, some. It looked off, like the mattress looked off. Like
pieces of white that just came off the bed, which he finds out later it's actually pieces of mattress, of fabric and cotton and stuffing. So he investigates a little more and he sees a giant long slash across the side of the mattress with a little bit of blood stained on the corner. And he sticks his hand into it and pulls out a bloody fishing hook.
you just see a hole and you just stick your hand in it.
Which is a mistake.
Yep.
In the
and he finds
that I said it, a bloody fishing hook.
Hear it.
Sorry.
You were talking about sticking your hand in holes that you didn't hear what I said.
I got distracted by holes.
Welcome to my life.
So
he runs out of there with the hook.
He does a lot of running these last two scenes.
Cardio is on point.
Acts. Like something happens, he runs into the woods. Something else happens, he runs to the school. He's just always running. It's exhausting. So
he runs to the fab again, to the same place where he had left that bloody rag shirt piece that he stuck inside the mug, inside the locker behind the table.
And he sticks the hook right back in there and has to deal with the fact that
I know, I was like, our word choices are not the best today, honestly.
I think the story does not let us.
I totally missed what just happened, so I'm going to keep going.
To describe.
So,
Just checked in my holes.
Wait, am I a hole?
That's what she said.
That's my joke. Damn it, Dwight.
Oliver runs back to the basement of the Fab building and hides the bloody hook and has to deal with the idea that James may in fact be the one who might have killed Richard.
Yes.
With that very hook.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum 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 bada bum.
Right before their performance of King Lear, that he then is running late to his performance. When he gets there, there is, what was his name? Timothy, some random.
Yes, he runs back. He runs back late to the performance of Lear to find his understudy has taken over, and he quickly takes over the role, gets his clothes.
Didn't even know who he was. Jeez.
Yeah, poor Timothy was just like, "Oh, thank God! Oh, thank God you came here because I don't know shit." So that's like me throughout
Terrible
school.
understudy.
So
One job.
I know it's like one job. I don't even think it was his understudy. I think it was just like a random second year or third year they pulled in. It was actually like an extra. So an extra.
Una extra.
Una extra. Sí, eso mismo. Very good. Anyway,
That was the whole reason why.
so now Oliver has to act through Lear until he can find a moment to snatch for Oliver to snatch Oliver. Exactly, because he went back in time. No, for Oliver to snatch James and confront him over his discovery. And there was a moment, and he also asked Alexander where Meredith. What the? Wow.
I'm so sorry, Meredith.
Meredith is asking where Meredith.
Sonja, you're it was a little limp. It's gotta be straight.
Oh, sorry. How do you know, Jess? Like that.
You've talked about it enough.
So Oliver's asking for Meredith because he hasn't seen her since the cast party. And I'm currently trying to remember exactly when he ends up talking to her again.
That was right before intermission, before Oliver.
Right before, because she says something.
Yes.
So, concerning them and James and
for James to finish, so like intermission starts, and that's when he sees Meredith. Meredith then is just standing there, gets startled by his steps, and he grabs her, makes out with her, and she goes, "What was that for?" And he was like, "You scared me," or not scared me, like he just didn't know. He didn't know what he was. Hence why he gave her the kiss. Right, Evie?
oh yeah, when they're discussing, I found it. It was another wonderful scene, another quote that I liked, and they were talking about where were you last night and what happened. And right before she leaves to go back on stage, he tells her the other day in class, don't kiss James like that again. And then she responds, who is it that you're jealous of, him or me? And in a kind of smug, she walked back out onto stage.
Like she's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that was a great moment there. I just wanted to point that out.
It's sassy at its fine, like the core of sass.
So,
Yep.
So the play goes on, and intermission starts, and Oliver finally has a chance to just snatch James right out of the crowd coming out of the stage. And this is like one of those moments where, like, when he confronted him in the room, Oliver is like really like aggressive more than usual. Like, he's come to terms that he remembers that he himself is a bigger person than James. He knows his own strength, and it's like when he shows his aggressiveness, it's kind of like Oliver has purpose. He wants answers, so he takes James outside into the snow, and that's when he confronts James, and James reveals that. What?
This is one of my lines that I like.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tameca.
I said wait.
No, Tameca, take over. Go for it.
No, I'm literally just gonna say this part, and then I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Go for it.
Run outside, right? Super dramatic.
Bum.
Outside because he's like, what the? He's wrong. He's gonna fucking tell me. So he runs out. They're outside, and the line that I don't know why, but I love it. The real sky was enormous overhead, making our mirrors and twinkling stage lights seem ridiculous. Man's futile attempt to imitate God. And that is my, by far, favorite line of the book.
It's a great line.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
That and earlier, I'm so sorry, this is tangent now. Earlier in the book, I think I quoted it in our group chat, and it was a spoiler apparently, but now it's a more spoiler. And I can't remember what it is.
That's how good it was, guys.
That's how good it was.
Meredith
it was.
Said it. No, she didn't. Oliver said it about Meredith. It was so good. Just trust me on it. Promise.
It was so good, guys. You just.
What I'll say.
I will
find it. Tell Josh, and it'll pop up right here.
So that's when
It's so good. I can't remember. Damn it.
that's when we have James's confession.
Yes. Where we have James's confession, in which he describes how after Meredith and Oliver went up to her room to get busy, and Richard lost his ever-loving mind. He stormed out of the castle into the lawn, where Ren and James were having a conversation. Ren sees her cousin walk off in a storm. She gets worried, reaches out to him. Richard, in a fit of rage, grabs her and tosses her across the lawn and storms off into the forest, wild and drunken. And Ren calls out for someone to go check. What?
Sounds like a country song.
Sounds
Drunken.
stormed off. I can't do that. Anyway, so
Brian comes out with that single. Sorry. Tangent.
So off into the forest, Ren calls out for someone to go after him to make sure he's okay. He's drunk. He might hurt himself, something like that. So James, taking it upon himself to run into the forest because he's a big giant schmuck, and goes after Richard, and can't seem to find him. He goes for farther enough till he reaches the dock by the lake, and he turns around. He finds that Richard was in fact following him in the forest the entire time, and
Psychopath.
and confronts him.
Much like Mika.
And I mean,
I would never go in the woods like alone to wait for somebody. Ever.
let's make this perfectly clear. I might be crazy, but I'm not crazy enough to go into the woods,
Go in
into
the
nature at night.
Stalk someone like a normal person on Facebook. Right, Sanji?
Yes, like a normal person, because that's what normal people do. Actually, it kind of is what normal people do.
That's what normal people do.
It is.
It really is. If you're gonna stalk someone online like everybody else. You weirdo.
And that's the first line in Wild. What was this song name?
We didn't have
Drunken and Wild.
Oh, wild and drunken into the forest. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so Richard confronts James. James tries to talk him down just to relax him, and also Richard says something back to James, which is also a terrible line, but when it was finally said out loud, I was like, oh no, like damn.
Oh, the line.
And me cago en este libro de mierda because I forgot the page. Hang on.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Here we go. Found it. So they're confronting each other, and then while James tries to take him back, Richard starts getting physical and starts shoving and pushing. James is trying to convince him to go up, talk to everyone, and then Richard replies, "Why can't you and Oliver just admit you're queer for each other and leave my girls alone?" And that's when I went, damn! James pretty much says, fuck this shit, I'm out, tries to leave. Richard won't let him. They get into confrontation. Richard tosses him into the boathouse, a really old rickety boathouse. So James crashes through the wall, and while Richard comes up to him, James reaches for whatever he can in the boathouse. It happens to be a fishing hook, holds it up to Richard. Richard taunts him immensely, and they're facing off against each other until finally Richard coaxes him into doing something, and he did something and whacked him.
Well, he did say, because I actually found a quote here on the book.
Oh, go for it.
He said, he laughed and said, "Do it, pretty boy. Little prince, I dare you." And he pushed me again. Pushed me down to the end of the dock saying, I dare you, you won't do it. And I looked behind me and the water was right there, and all I could I could think of was Halloween and who would keep him from drowning me this time. And he wouldn't shut up. He was just saying it. You won't do it. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. And I didn't mean to.
And then cue clip from I Know You Did Last Summer. And then just sliced him.
one.
What are you waiting for? Sorry.
So yeah, Oliver now is in shock. He's trying to process what James just confessed to him, just trying to figure out what is he gonna do. This is James we're talking about, and
That's when he runs away, and on his way back to the castle, he bumps into Philippa.
oh, that's right, I forgot. He's still telling the story. That's right. James runs back, and then he found that Philippa also went after him. And Philippa, we find out, knew the entire time what had happened.
Yeah, but we already knew that Philippa knew the whole time.
Yes.
And there is a quote that said later on in the book that if it was Philippa who killed Richard, nobody would know. No one would know. And that
It's
kind
like
of
if I
made
killed
me.
somebody, no one would know.
Yeah.
I kind of think you already have.
Okay, so. So. I wasn't kidding when I said one of you would be the death of me. Anyway, so.
You're still kicking.
I mean, I can make it happen if you really want.
Calm down, because intermission, they have to go back and finish the performance of King Lear.
Yes. Oliver says to James after processing that we'll figure it out. And we're not really sure what that means entirely. But due to how we know how Oliver feels about James at this point, we can only speculate. So intermission is over. They go back to continue the play. We're towards the end of the final act between both their characters in a sword fight, which I also think was really kind of cool considering how things are about to end. The two of them with these feelings for each other, locked into battle on stage, and then all of a sudden, right when Oliver's character kills James's character, over their shoulder they can see the Dean, Gwendolyn in shock next to her, and Detective Colborne waiting for them. I said everyone wants to kick my ass, not my ass. If somebody wants my ass, I would very much like them to admit it, please. I'm lonely. So, anyway.
To all you subscribers out there.
I'm single. Ready to mingle. I just want a hug. Anyway. Point being.
Sorry.
Anyway, so they complete the scene and the lights go up. The show's over. Curtains close.
No, you missed.
Oh, that's right. I missed something important that threw off
Also,
everybody.
they fuck up the final scene.
They do fuck up the final scene. They go on their little tangent. Hey, like us. And they have their own moment quoting Shakespeare to each other. And it ends with something more than just brotherly, something more than just acting. It was this subtle kiss between the both of them.
The audience was confused as hell.
And the audience was confused. They were confused.
The poor guys in the front row were like, this is...
And then they also describe when it ends how they were kind of like reluctantly kind of like, are we going to applaud this? Yes, applaud. Yeah.
Yes! Yes!
So the curtains close, the actors walk off, and Colborne walks up, and it looks like he's walking up to James, because clearly he knows. But to the surprise of everyone, including Colborne, did one of these. What? Oliver totally stands in front of them and goes, yes. You want
Okay.
me, I will go with you. And that's how we find out that Oliver takes the blame for Richard's death to protect James.
Oh, love
And
makes us do
we've-
stupid things.
And we find out, a little bit more about the trial, more about how Philippa was a character witness. Alexander would have been a witness, but because of his drug problem and ODing, he couldn't do it. Meredith sees him just that one time in jail, and we also find out later on that she gave an anonymous tip to Colborne that it was James, because during that drunken state of his during the cast party, he had actually seen Meredith at first, and that's where the mascara from the bathroom came from, because that's where he confronted her, and that's when she put together that it was James who may have in fact killed Richard.
And his one sister Leah also visits, and
Leah also leaves
him
Ohio to go see
she
him.
knows that he didn't do it.
Mhm. And James tries so hard to convince him to let him say the truth, and for years tries to convince him to let him say the truth, and Oliver wouldn't budge at all. And
That was his only and one request.
one request,
I'm
and
gonna take the win for you, man.
James kept it. I mean, yeah, he didn't say a thing, and it ate him up alive. And Oliver spent 10 years in jail. And
when he comes out, that's when he's telling this whole story to Colborne. And when he's done telling the story,
he feels a sense of he no longer has any secrets. He doesn't really have much of himself anymore. And comes the big question, what now? And he pretty much says, well, gonna live with my sister for a bit. And also, you already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find James. And then that's when they reveal that James had in fact died 4 years prior. He drowned
Not just died; he killed himself.
So yeah, just
because
he
was
drowned
so
himself.
Ridden.
And yeah, it's a very sad moment. James is dead. He's out of prison, and now he has to
Philippa
figure out.
also visited Oliver every 2 weeks, and didn't say a thing for 4 years.
Because Philippa was afraid that if she told him, that he might not have made it in jail.
Yeah.
So Colborne.
Philippa knows best.
Philippa knows best. So Colborne and Oliver shake hands. They now know what happened. They have a different perspective on each other. They go separate ways. And Philippa offers to take Oliver wherever he wants, to the bus station, to the airport, whatever. And we find him later on in Chicago, in some house waiting.
Chi-town.
What?
Chi-town.
Shut down? What?
Chi-town.
Chi-town. That's the nickname for Chicago? Is Chi-town?
Chi-town.
I didn't know that. I learned something new every day.
The more you know.
The more you know. And so he visits this house, and it happens to be Meredith's house. And already Meredith knows, probably knew who was coming. Now that we're surprised.
Yeah.
And Meredith gives him
If he's not going to be able to get James, he's going to go for Meredith.
Yeah, he's like, I guess I'll go for second, but...
So,
I mean, he wasn't even there, so...
True.
So Meredith greets him already in tears, probably because she might have been warned by Philippa he was coming, slaps him, and then lets him into the house, which they talk for hours, and they discuss their relationship, his feelings towards James. Yeah, the final breakdown. The breakdown where finally all these years, this decade of everything just pours out of him. Admits his love for James. And eventually they stay together in what he calls, they eventually stay together indefinitely. Just because there's still the feelings between those two. And honestly, with Oliver not there, Meredith's social life would just be one spent alone. They really are the only two that have each other now. And this is the part that I was getting to, because I really want to talk about this part. I don't know. It's like how many months? Is it months? It's like months go by and
Yawning.
months go by and he gets a letter from Philippa, and inside the letter is another letter, and it's actually a letter addressed to Oliver that was found in his car. And because when he in James's car, James sent a letter to Oliver. He left 2 letters when he died, when he drowned himself in, I forgot what beach it says. It was some island, it said San Juan Islands. There we go, San Juan Island. That's where he was when he drowned.
Wow, good job.
And he left in his car 2 letters. One that was just to no one, that left no confession either about what had really happened. He still kept the secret. But also another one directly addressed to Oliver that had this combination of Shakespeare quotes from the play Pericles. And he's reading it and he's trying... Pericles, thank you.
Not Hercules.
Not Pericles. Pericles. And I will read, if you guys don't mind, I will read it in my best Shakespearean tone. And here we go. I recognize the text, a disjointed mosaic monologue cobbled together from an early scene of Pericles. See, I learned. Alas, the sea hath cast me on the rock, washed me from shore to shore, and left me breath. Nothing to think on but ensuing death. What I have been, I have forgot to know. But what I am, want teaches me to think on. A man thonged up with cold, my veins are chill, and have no more of life than may suffer. To give my tongue that heat to ask your help, which if you shall refuse, when I am dead, for that I am a man, pray see me buried. And he tries to make out what exactly does this mean until he remembers these are the exact same passages that he spoke to Oliver when they were on their little vacation on the Del Norte beaches. And he gets this urge to check something on his computer. And he starts looking up articles about James's death. And they all pretty much say the same thing, that he drowned himself on the last day of December. And though the local authorities dragged the freezing water for days and miles, his body was never found. And that's how it ends in this ambiguous moment of, did he in fact die? And this is what I wanted to point out. Pericles, because this one I do remember, and I had to look up synopsis. In Pericles, the big core theme.
I did not think you know what it means.
What? Am I pronouncing it wrong? Is it a Pericles?
Pericles.
Pericles. Pericles. Yeah. Okay. Stop it. This part I really did like, because I had to look it up and I see the big central theme in Pericles is that the main character and his family at one point all separate and they all think they're dead until the very end of the play when they realize they're actually all alive. So everyone has their own opinion on what the end really means, but knowing that he's quoting this combination of Pericles and the idea of the play, I like to think that maybe he didn't in fact drown himself and he is in fact alive out there just waiting for Oliver to come and find him. At least that's my positive spin on it.
Oliver's gonna ditch Meredith again because Meredith. I actually feel bad for Meredith.
And she'll never
I do feel bad for Meredith. I feel bad for Ren because Ren is described as living her life as a recluse. So, and that also sucks.
But I mean,
there's not that many happy endings.
Like downhill already.
True, and there's not that many happy endings.
Philippa gets a happy ending. She's happy with
Camilo. Yeah, I'm happy for Philippa.
Yeah,
and she's running the school, so she's all good.
But I don't know. But it kind of leaves you thinking, it's up to the reader to really decide whether, sure, his body wasn't found, but he more than likely is dead, or maybe he in fact did survive and he's out there on his own.
Yeah,
actually, unpopular opinion. That's what the thing. That's the thing that I love about the story.
Right. Yeah, go on.
No,
That's the thing about like about
ending
this.
where- yeah, no, the ending where it's just like kind of a cliffhanger, but kind of not, where you can just the reader decides what they want to believe. That's what I like about it, and apparently a lot of people don't like that.
I can see why they wouldn't like it. And in these kind of ambiguous endings for other narratives, I'm usually the first one to go with the negative, sadder option. But for some reason, at the end of this book, I kind of like to think that maybe, just maybe, he really isn't dead. And it's like a Shawshank Redemption kind of ending, except, in that movie, Annie Dufresne does not fall in love with Morgan Freeman. But in this one, Oliver does end up with James. Are we just thinking about that alternate ending, the Shawshank?
Yeah.
I never saw it, and then I was like, what now?
Wait, hold up. You never saw Shawshank? Okay. Now you're out of my
Movie
favor
night.
for a while. It's my turn.
Movie night.
What's new, Evie?
Oh my god.
Wow.
Siempre sufría. My goodness. So, yes, I like the idea that maybe, just maybe, despite everything that maybe James and Oliver can in fact be together. Though it does leave the fact that the ending doesn't sit well with me, just because it does leave Meredith all on her own. So
I have high hopes that he just decided to fake his own death. And he's living somewhere, possibly with someone else, with another guy. Maybe called Oliver. I don't know. Maybe he had a kid.
Or he's just hiding out at Ren's house, and she's not really like suffering like everybody thinks.
That.
I mean,
that was too much.
Sorry.
That could work too.
So they're both just with their second favorite.
Oh, that sucks.
That's
Not
a really
realistic.
okay. That's a bittersweet way of look of.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was just throwing it out there.
That just.
I don't know.
I mean, you you end with your second.
I just want to emphasize that you guys are definitely not my second choices. You guys are my first choices, and I love all of you.
So nice.
Oh, yeah.
On that note, guys, that is a wrap for this week. Next week, we're going to actually go over our final thoughts on the book. It's going to be our wrap.
And play Who Would You Rather?
Yes. So, on that note, stay spicy, fellow disasters. Remember to like,
Lord
share,
knows we
and
will.
subscribe. Maybe.
Like.